I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Welcome back to the Quarter Mile Podcast, Episode 2, Season 3. Here we are. If you're here, you're probably either you're a big fan of the Chronicles of Riddick and you're
They
just
are.
joining us,
They are.
or you're someone who's been with us and you know the deal. We don't need to tell you about the whole saga of how we started with Fast and Furious and now we're here, but I'm basically already telling you that saga. Anyway,
It's not a bad saga.
yeah. It's we started. We are the world's leading Fast and Furious themed movie
on
rewatch
now.
podcast, which means we now we're at the point where we don't do Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah, we don't have to anymore.
That's season 1, and then we did movies around that in season 2, and now we're just chatting about action movies. So
Because we like action.
we love action. I'm all about all the action I can. That's what I'm.
I need some action.
Yeah, let's get some action.
Give me
Speaking
some
of,
action.
speaking of action, I'm so excited to bring up our amazing special guest. He's a first timer here. I don't even know if you guys know each other, but that's okay. We're here now. I want to welcome Britt Barnette to our amazing
Hey.
show.
Thank you so much for having me. I know Drew. Drew is my comedy teacher, and I know CJ because I see you at Mike's all around town. And, like,
Aw.
anytime you're performing, I'm usually there in the audience,
Aw.
really laughing my fucking ass off.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Cutie Patootie.
No, you two are some of my favorites for sure. I'm huge fans.
Thank you.
Well, you are absolutely hysterical too. I loved having you in comedy class. I love seeing you since then, and I believe we had you close out the showcase for the show, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And that showcase was fantastic. All of your little children performing, showing off everything you've taught us.
Love how you said all of your little children.
Yeah, most of them are grown adults, but
Some are half of them were older than you.
Britt, tell us about yourself. And this is a new day for the Quarter Mile Podcast in that you could tell us about your relationship with the Fast and Furious if you want, or you could tell us about your relationship with Riddick.
I have so many hot takes about Fast and Furious. I'm just a guy out here in Nashville trying to make it happen with comedy.
Are you originally from Nashville?
Yeah, I grew up here. I'm born and raised in Franklin.
Well, you're a whole unicorn.
Yeah, because like I grew up here, and the whole time I was living here as a kid, I was like, I got to get out of here as soon as possible. And then when I turned like 12 or 13, all the cranes started going up, and Nashville's a new city now. So it's like,
It's true.
damn, like I got to stay. And now I got to be that guy who lives in the same city his whole life, which nothing wrong with that
Yeah.
at all.
Wrong with that. I can relate to that. I grew up in Brentwood, so
I'm around
here we are.
unicorns.
Yeah. So
But you moved.
I moved for a while,
Yeah.
but then I came back, and I remember when I moved, or the first time I moved out, I was like, I'm never coming back. And then like when I came back, I was like, oh, this is actually better than I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Being around unicorns. You never get to be around unicorns, people.
Yeah.
Like, and what I mean by unicorns is like what we say is like you're born and bred in Nashville because like I'm a transplant. Like I'm not born and raised here at all. Like I came here only for college and I just stayed.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're glad you stayed. We're glad you stuck around.
I like Nashville. I
So
don't like the growth, but
what are some of your thoughts on Fast and Furious?
Fast and Furious is undeniably one of my favorite, like unironically, one of my favorite movie franchises.
I
know,
love
right
that
now.
I love that.
unironically.
If I had to rank all the Fast and Furious movies, Fast 5, number 1, whenever Dwayne The Rock Johnson gets introduced,
Yep.
Hobbs, best character possibly in movie history. People give him hell for that character, and I think it's unbelievable.
He named his dog after that character.
He did.
He did, and then he got into a blood feud with Vin Diesel, and now I'm like, ugh.
We talk all about that on Fast and
His
Furious 8,
dog's
and we talk about it on Fast 5, and we bring it back up in Hobbs and Shaw. So if you guys are into that, we got that.
And we're gonna get into it right now. No, I'm kidding. All the Dwayne Johnson movies are just unbelievable. It is a phenomenal movie franchise. I unironically love it. Every person I know who went to film school makes fun of me, and I'm like, I have no apologies.
Well, they're wrong.
Why? Did I make fun of you?
I don't know. Anytime I meet someone who went to film school, they're like, the best movies is like some 1972 like black and white Russian
Right.
film.
Oh, shut up.
And I'm like,
Forget that like films are meant to be enjoyed, and
Yes.
enjoyment is subjective, and what you get out of a movie is subjective. So
Yeah, like
where's-
that's
yes.
we literally when we did Redline, which is CJ would say maybe one of the worst movies on earth, and I wouldn't strongly disagree. I would say it's up there. But then right after that, we did a bonus episode with a movie director who he saw that movie, and it's what got him into movie directing. So
Wow.
this movie that we were like gross, he was like, I want to make movies.
Now, if you told me that somebody saw that movie poster and it got them into making movie posters, I'd be all in. I remember when y'all posted about that. I saw
Yeah.
the movie poster and I was like, wow,
Oh yeah, that
I'm locked
And
in.
I did not like Redline.
you watched it 3 times.
I did. I tried.
I won't take too much time telling you guys. Go find us on social media. Go to our polls. Go to our, have conversations with us. Tell us what you think about the movies. Like, subscribe. Check out the reels. Have fun. Also, I will spend a little bit more time on this. Check out another podcast I produce called Living Through the Shift. It's by comedian Tiffany Harris. She talks about just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And you should absolutely check it out. It's another quarter mile entertainment production. And it's really cool. It does have nothing to do with action movies, but you came here to talk about action movies and to listen
Mhm.
about action movies. So let's get into it. We are talking about Chronicles of Riddick, the second movie in the Riddick series. Fun fact, our guest Britt admitted to us before the podcast, this is the only movie of the Riddick series that he's seen. So we have context going into it with Pitch Black, but Britt, you got this was like we just threw you in the middle here, man.
I thought that I should probably watch Pitch Black to get some perspective, but then I thought I'm into it with a neutral eye, total objectivity, just judge Chronicles of Riddick for what it is, appreciate
that.
all the nuances, pick up what I can, and we're talking about this movie. No reason to bring up the other ones. No
Yeah,
reason at all.
absolutely.
Now we're bringing up all the other
Oh,
ones. Just
no reason. And apparently, this is what we learned last week with Andre as our guest. There's so much context with this whole Chronicles of Riddick stuff. This is my
Hate to
first
hear
time
that.
watching through the series.
Yeah.
I thought there was just 3 movies. Turns out there's 4 movies, but then there also turns out there's another movie after the 4th movie.
Yep.
Turns out they're making a new movie. Also, there's like a book series and comics, and like it's a whole world that this podcast has just become a Chronicles of Riddick.
I liked it because, like I said, it's different from Riddick. I mean, it's different from Pitch Black because Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick are two totally different, but it still follows.
Yes.
So it's that's why I like it.
The thing that either confuses people or they don't like, or honestly it's whatever, it is what it is. But Pitch Black was supposed to be its own movie. Vin Diesel's character Riddick was supposed to die in that movie. That was part of it, but they left an opening, just cuz. And then because of that, and because the movie went so well, they were like, well, let's make another one. But when they made this one that we're talking about today, you can see a total shift of character, a lot
Yeah.
of new things.
Yeah.
He was the kind of the criminal who the anti-hero who
Yeah.
kind of ended up being good at the end of the movie, which Pitch Black, which is supposed to be a standalone movie, now he kind of basically becomes like, oh, it's a destiny to save the entire
To save the
universe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the total anti-hero. And then some of the same characters from Pitch Black are in Chronicles, like Iman and Kyra.
Kyra,
Yeah.
we'll get into it, but because of this movie right now, she's currently the most interesting part of the series to me, like her dynamic with Riddick.
They love each other.
Yeah.
I think she loves him, and he has kind of that like,
Like her. He just
you think there's something sexual there?
I don't think it's anything sexual. I think he loves her for who she is and just because she's there.
I think it's like a mentorship kind of love.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love you.
What do you think?
Love from a position of power, mentorship,
I would agree.
the most beautiful kind.
Yeah,
I would agree.
that's adorable.
Vin Diesel, famously one of the most sensual actors.
And
I mean, he's one of the most
what is it?
sensual.
What is it with this man and every old woman he ever acts with? Did you see like there's stories about how he begged what's her name, Judi Dench, to be in this movie. Like he pestered her online. He really
Dame,
wanted
Dame.
Dame Judi
Judi Dench.
Dench. I apologize. And then like I mean bringing it back to Fast and Furious, him and Helen Mirren. It's
Okay, I think maybe he has an attraction to
I-
older women.
I think
Or he's or the actor in him maybe want to test his acting chops.
Oh, okay, that's a nicer way. I think he's got a
I
thing for older ladies.
See, I tried. I was like, maybe he wants to be like, look, because Helen Mirren and Dame Lady Dench, like, come on,
Yeah.
like some actors.
Yeah, that's true.
Got some real chops going
They're
on.
hot.
They are
Undeniable.
pretty. I mean, they are
Okay, so yeah, well, he's got good taste regardless, whether it's sensual or just good acting.
just good acting. Exactly. Shout out.
Let's do a bit of a movie overview here.
Let's go.
So, movie came out in 2004, I think, or 2004.
It was 2004.
2004. Okay, so they spent around 105 and 120 million to make this movie. They made about 107 to 115 million.
So they didn't.
So it was a bit of a break-even project.
I was just about to say they didn't fall. They just kind of.
Yeah.
With movies, they don't include the marketing budget.
Oh, so then so that
They were
might,
probably way behind.
yeah.
If you factor
Oh, this is a
True.
passion project for at least Vin Diesel and the director David
Tui,
Tui? Is okay. So that's what a lot of people on Reddit were talking about, like how this was such like a passion project for them. So, I guess maybe they're cool with the fact that it maybe didn't get a lot of the food on the table. We had a fun cast here at Chronicles of Riddick. That makes me sound like I'm at like a whole hotline or something. Right here at Riddick Online, we like to get together. Anyway, Vin Diesel, obviously, Dame Judy Dench. I had no idea she was in this movie, and and here's the funny thing, she didn't. She talks about in an autobiography later. She had no idea what was going on for this entire movie. She didn't read the whole script. She just read her parts. But she's like, "But I had fun." Like, but I just had.
Who said that, Sandy?
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah. She was just like, I don't, like, I don't know what that movie's about, but it was a good time. They had Combe Fiore as
Yeah.
Lord Marshall. I didn't recognize him in this movie. Well, I did, but like, I didn't. I was like, where do I know him from? And some of the other stuff he's been was Thor, Umbrella Academy, and Face Off. So if you're like,
Face Off.
so yeah, that was a good. I forgot about the movie until I saw it in the credits. I was like, oh yeah, good movie. Then Thandie Newton as Dame Vaco, and I also just want to say my future wife.
Sandy.
Oh my gosh,
She's amazing.
yes, she very much is.
She kills in everything she does.
Very much so. I fell in love with her in Mission Impossible 2 when I saw it in theaters back in high school, and I re-fell in love with her this morning when I watched this
Would
movie.
you watch this
Oh,
movie?
okay.
Yeah, Carl Urban as Lord Valko, but I think of anytime I see him, I think of him the boys, right? That's his big role right now. But it was weird seeing him with like a long mullet. And then we had Alexa Davalos as Kyra slash
Yeah.
Jack. She is in this movie. She's my favorite character because, and it's not because of her specifically. Although she is pretty badass in this movie, it is the dynamic between her and Riddick, and how it came from the first one. And I thought it was a really good plot move for them to kill her off at the end of this. When she came in and when they were in the prison, like when he got imprisoned, to me, that was when this movie started getting good.
Yeah. You know, when you were going over that in the cast, Carrie Hilson is in this movie.
Yeah.
And you know who that is, right?
I don't.
Yes, you do.
I do.
Okay. I'm gonna you know the song and you're gonna be like, shut up. She's a singer.
Yes.
All the pretty girls rock, 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 do the pretty girl.
Yeah.
That's the girl.
Who is she in this?
Cannot think. That's what I have to go back and look because I'm like, she had to be one of the oh, I'm gonna go back and look again.
Yeah, maybe she was like a prisoner.
I don't know if she was. I
don't
want
know
to
if
say
she
she
had a
was a
big part.
prisoner,
I don't
but
think. Yeah.
the fact that I looked at it, and I was like, wait, Carrie Hilson,
I had no
When did
idea.
when did that song come out? Was it
Pretty Girl Rock. Oh, it was early because
was it after this movie or before?
this was after the movie. My name is Carrie. I'm so very.
I don't remember when that movie came out.
The movie came out in
This is
2003.
3.
Pretty
Oh,
Girl
wow.
Rock came out in 2005 or 6.
Okay, my guess would have been earlier, but that also works. So,
In 2004.
so
And then Keith David is back in the movie again.
right, absolutely.
Love Keith David.
I didn't much care for him in this movie. I should say he did great. He did fine.
Yeah.
I thought this movie should have picked up when they were in prison. I thought this.
I agree. I agree.
I don't that the whole like he's the Rick turns out to have been destined to be the one to save the universe. And this probably could be interesting your take on this, Britt, because you didn't see the first movie. But in the first movie, dude, this is this guy who's escaping prison. He's not a great guy. He ends up being a better guy at the end of the movie. Like it's fine,
Yeah.
but like, he doesn't strike me as like I'm gonna go out of my way to save the
you.
universe.
Yeah.
So I would have loved for it to start with he somehow got in prison. And then he meets the
Because they don't
girl.
talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, no. And then maybe she gets kidnapped and that's what gets him to help, save the universe. But like his motivation shouldn't be like, I'm gonna do the right thing.
Have
He
you?
does say that.
May I introduce you to something called the Fast and Furious franchise?
Never
Yeah.
seen it
In
before.
the subsequent movies, the plot goes a little bit supernatural and like hero-y,
Yeah.
where he goes from carjacking to working for the CIA.
Yeah, that's true. That's the
That is
same thing.
That's Vin Diesel's whole. That's his whole
that's the
vibe.
thing. That maybe he's like, I like to take characters and turn them into something else.
And that could have been what he did with this one because Richard,
I love that his name's Richard.
the fact that his name is Richard.
Oh, they don't mention that in this movie, but in the other movies, they make a point to at least once tell you that Riddick's first name is Richard.
Richard.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
Isn't that a fun little
I
useless piece of information?
I remember like briefly seeing that on like a plot summary, and I was like, "That's a typo." Like, that's
No.
like a director.
Yeah,
No,
Richard B. Riddick.
Riddick.
I
Yeah.
thought that was like headcanon. That's
'Cause
crazy.
I just
Now, what is his middle name?
Benton. I want it to be the whitest. Like he before he became a criminal, before he had to do all the stuff he had to do, he lived in a mansion somewhere.
I was gonna say Brighton.
Brighton,
Brighton.
because of his eyes, bright.
That's good.
So,
Thank
I
you.
like that.
Richard Brighton
Yeah,
Riddick.
Richard Brighton written. He used to have a butler.
He did.
The year of this movie, I don't know why I remember this, but I read it somewhere, is 2548. So, back in the early 25s,
Okay, pre-Dune,
right? Yeah.
modern time. Gotcha.
Yeah. Just grew up in a
I
farm.
love how he's, his eyes are like he's grown by now. Like, you're gonna get these eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, cataracts.
I would have loved for it just I mean, at the very beginning of the movie, he had a beard and all that long hair, and I knew it wasn't the classic Vin Diesel look. I knew it was gonna go at some point,
Yeah.
but part of me is like, what if he just stayed like this the whole movie?
I would have enjoyed that.
Just this gruff.
I would have enjoyed hair of Vin Diesel.
Yeah, when I saw him with all that hair, I was like, "Oh, this is crazy." Vin Diesel's like a different person right now. He's acting, and then immediately, probably 10 minutes in, you see him with a razor, and it's like,
Oh
"Oh,
yeah, he's
Yeah.
perfect shave." By the
perfect-
way,
Part of me was like, "Good. This is the Vin Diesel I came to see."
I mean, but you just know that makeup. I mean, they had his head is so perfectly bald that they did that on purpose.
Right, absolutely.
They did that on purpose. So what you got for us, Drew?
So I got some fast fan feedback for us. So I did get some mixed reviews. This first one, which came from Hechiceros Orb. For me, it's a slam dunk. The world building is so fun with lots of memorable characters. It's like 3 movies in one. It goes from Prison Break to Space Macbeth at breakneck speed. It's all over the place in a way I love. Tons of awesome, goofy dialogue, killer cast too. Judi Dench? Oh yeah, it's fun to see the Purifier on Law and Order too. I I didn't catch that episode.
Because she was she was on Law and Order.
Oh, okay.
She was like one of the main, like, whatever those people are called.
Judges.
No, she wasn't a judge.
Lawyers.
She was one of the
Serial killers.
No, she was a judge, but
Honorable Judi Dench.
you had to. She was like the over the all the lawyers and stuff.
Oh,
The DA?
Not the DA,
The
but like
head of the firm. I don't.
yeah, that's what she
Oh,
was.
okay, yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
Look at that.
There you go.
This next person.
Wait, go back to what they said earlier
Uh,
before they said Law and Order.
it was fun to see Judi Dench.
No, what they
Oh,
said about
yeah.
Macbeth.
Oh yeah, they said it went from Prison Break to Space Macbeth.
I could see that as a space soap opera.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely has like that space Odyssey feel. I mean, very Star Wars esque.
Yeah.
and there were some scenes where the actors were almost playing it like I felt like they were doing it as Shakespeare.
Yeah.
They were like saying their words.
Very, very. Yes.
There's a quote from Vin Diesel where he says he feels like this is his most romantic role ever.
In this.
In the Riddick role, he's like, and I don't know because can't romantic mean like not just love and stuff like that, like it like dramatic or whatever. It's weird that this is his like this is the. I mean, but look at it. I mean, if your roles are Dominic Toretto, Riddick, the pacifier, I guess that kind of makes sense. But like,
I mean, when I think of romance, I do think of love, though. I mean, Webstery. I'm truly just Webstery right now.
yeah. This one says, this is from Minnesota Fats. It says
What?
Yep,
Okay.
good old Fats from Minnesota. He says too much of a genre shift away from the original story. Dave too, he should have made it straight a jailbreak flick. Okay,
Okay.
Into it.
Okay. I like Minnesota Fat.
yeah, that's a good name. Rio Leto, he says, is Chronicles of Riddick the best Riddick movie? Sure, not. So sure not.
What?
It's like then he said, is it the best movie ever? And then he said, yes, it is. You can clearly see that this movie is made with love and passion. It's obviously a low budget production, but with great ideas in it. It's a product that had the bravery of portraying something new in a stagnant industry that needs to recycle the same plot over and over again just to stay alive. And then he said, I love it because even though it has flaws and some inconsistency and weirdness, if you have a creative mind, you will be amused. You will feel inspired by it. You will want to create something of your own just because Chronicles of Riddick shows you that creativity is all that you need to make something beautiful.
So he did mushrooms before he watched the movie.
Right. At the end, didn't it sound like you were like giving like a wedding vow to like your wife?
Yeah, he was definitely in a type of headspace when he was typing that, or when he watched the movie. And you know what? That's how movies are supposed to go. You know,
Oh, man,
they meet you where you're at.
this would be I'm not like a drug guy, but this would be a fun movie on shrooms, right? Like this would be one of
I don't know.
the
I watch it. I watch it
Yeah,
drunk, maybe.
yeah.
okay, drunk, yeah. So, well, maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're like, what the heck movie are they talking about? I don't even know what's going on.
Chronicles of Riddick.
Well, in true quarter mile fashion,
Richard.
Richard.
who's this Richard guy they're talking about? We brought you an AI plot summary from the perspective of Riddick, played by Vin Diesel, who's today played by Britt Barnette. And so he's going to share with us the plot summary for this amazing masterpiece that is a creative genius, as you just heard from our previous Redditor.
You have to do it.
I know.
There it is.
I'm devastated. I didn't bring my swim goggles to this reading.
I love it.
I want to laugh, but my chest hurts.
All right, buckle up, because this ride is about to get pitch black. The Chronicles of Riddick, a tale of survival, badassery, and a whole lot of glowy style. I start this adventure doing what I do best, being the galaxy's #1 problem child. 5 years of keeping a low profile on some icy rock, avoiding bounty hunters, and perfecting my brooding stare.
Perfect.
Through goggles. I nailed that. That was
You didn't get the
fantastic.
goggles, but that's cool. Okay, good.
There you go. Video people, you saw that. But my past has a habit of hunting me down harder than a merc with a rent to pay. To my old acquaintance Imam, who just had to drag me to Helion Prime because of some cryptic prophecy nonsense. Prophecy? I don't do destiny. I do survival. Things go south fast. Enter the Necromongers, a cult of space conquerors who have one rule: you eat what you kill. Their leader, Lord Marshall, is basically death incarnate. He's got the power to suck your soul out faster than you can say, bad life choices.
Necromongers.
His second in command, Vaco, is lurking around, clearly scheming harder than a politician in an election year. Topical. And his wife, he's got more plans than I've got enemies. So naturally, I'm not about to sign up for their dystopian space cult, and I make that very clear by smashing a few heads and getting thrown into crematoria, the worst prison this side of the galaxy. It's called crematoria because the planet's surface is hotter than a summer in Death Valley. Singer. And every morning the sun decides to roast anything that's not underground. Great vacation spot, really, if you're into real estate. Inside, I reunite with Jack, now going by Kyra, so
Yeah.
aggressive, who has spent the last few years turning herself into an even bigger badass than me. Well, almost. Together, we pull off a prison break that is roughly 10% strategy, 90% punching people. The mercs regret every decision that led them to me, and before long, I hitch a ride back to Helion Prime for some unfinished business with the Lord Marshal. Turns out, I'm a Furian, which is basically the one thing Lord Marshal fears. Lucky for me, this means my rage-fueled rampage against the Necromongers is more than just personal. It's destiny. I'm not the type to embrace grand cosmic purpose, but I do embrace punching arrogant warlords in the face. In the final showdown, Lord Marshal pulls his best disappearing act, zipping around like a cheap magic trick. I love cheap anyway. But I'm fast and furious. With a well-placed kill shot, I take him down. That's when things get weird. Because apparently, the Necromongers follow that you keep what you kill nonsense to the letter. Which means that after defeating their leader, I am now King Riddick. King Richard.
Nice.
Topical. And now I'm in charge of a genocidal space army. All I can do is sit on that ridiculous throne, look at my new subjects, and think, well, this wasn't in the plan. That is all. Thank you for listening.
Great job. That was so great. I loved
everything about it.
I love the additions that you threw in spur of the moment. That was fun for me, and for us, and for everyone listening.
I loved everything about it.
Richard's so topical. He's so hip with the news.
Yeah, yeah. Look at that. Okay, gang. What thoughts do we have and opinions do we have of this movie? Let's just open it up. We've read some other people's thoughts. We've read an amazing summary. What are your big takeaways of Riddick and the Chronicles of him?
Nothing to do with the plot. No, just off the bat, because this is the first thing you notice when it starts. This is like #1 movie all time of insanely quiet dialogue and
Yeah.
and insanely loud special effects.
Yes.
I don't know if that's like a movie theater thing
No.
or like why they mixed it that way, but something between the years 2002 and 2009, they're like, all right, guys, we're gonna make them
This.
we're gonna make them turn the volume all the way up to hear what they're saying, and then we're gonna burst their eardrums.
Yeah.
I would agree with that because I was literally like straining, like, what is he?
Everything Riddick with Vin Diesel was like muttering the whole time.
Like,
I was like,
the whole
you
time.
know what you must do. What? What did you say? What?
I literally didn't catch the last line of the movie and read about it later. I was like,
Like I will agree. Like everybody's dialogue was very even Sandy,
Yeah.
even hers, and she's a powerful actor. Even Dame Dench,
yeah.
she was quiet.
You know what it is in the year 2500, they are really intentional about audio damage and like headphones and stuff like that. So everyone just learns to speak a little softer because there was a big like death plague.
I don't know. Maybe the Furians destroyed everything,
Yeah.
and that's why
And they're not ready to talk about it
they're
or
not ready.
anything yet.
They're not ready to talk at all because they don't talk.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very sensitive culture.
High ceilings.
Ear ceilings. They're ear sensitive
Yeah,
and high ceilings.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
just not a very audio conducive environment. Sounds
No.
that travel well in space.
I honestly did though enjoy the movie, minus that though, because I really was straining. Like, what is he saying?
Mhm.
But you really did have to pull it up. But I liked it. I liked from where it started. I liked the characters, especially Marshall. Marshall is ruthless.
Yeah.
Marshall was ruthless. Marshall might have been my favorite.
He was a good evil villain.
He
And
was. He was ruthless.
the other guy was run by his wife.
No.
The other guy was like that.
Yeah. But Marshall was between her and Vaco, she
Yeah.
wants to be powerful too. But Marshall, he wasn't giving it up.
Yeah.
He wasn't giving up that power. I liked his character throughout the whole thing. Throughout the whole
The
thing.
whole stealing souls thing was pretty cool.
That
very
was cool.
I did like
that.
that. That was so weird and so bad and so cringe, but I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he did it. Good job.
And then when
Like I would have been that person in the mirror, like, girl, you got it,
Yeah.
go, good job.
like you would have been one of the audience or the spectators like,
Yeah.
oh, what
No, like that part I like. That's probably one of my favorite parts, the soul snatch part.
Or when he tried to take Vin Diesel's soul.
That was it. That was it for me. I was like,
Did he say fuck off? Did
he
just
did.
back in
He did. He was like, fuck off. I was a kid. I was a kid at that part. So no, that's what I gotta say about it. Those are my reviews.
Was that movie PG-13?
This one was PG-13, so that
Yes.
was probably the one F-bomb.
Well, no, there's another one in the beginning. Like when he gets into, is it Tombs?
Does he say the F word?
He says he's like, Tombs is like something, and he was like, like, I'm fucking Riddick, or he says something like that.
Yeah.
He says something like that in his.
See, it was so low, couldn't hear it.
No, it was muttering that it got past the
It got past the the people.
yeah.
Because I thought they burned it pretty early. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, because
Did not hear that.
one of the critiques of the movie was because they went from R to PG-13. They tried to make it more like kid and everyone friendly and stuff like that. So like we know for a fact there's
If he said that, he had to say it.
maybe like he would argue like, yeah, it was just FUC, but I didn't throw it out the hard K or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because I swear I didn't hear it. I heard the one that I did hear, but I didn't hear the first one.
My favorite scene of the whole movie was the teacup killing part and
Yeah.
the way he's like, I could kill you with this teacup. And then he did.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that.
I enjoyed that part.
I've said this already, but Kyra's the best character, and only because of her dynamic. That was the most interesting part to me.
She had a good from the start to finish. Like her overall arc was
Yeah.
was good. At first, I thought she was going to be slow for some reason.
Yeah.
Was I wrong in thinking that?
Well, I mean, she's gone through a lot. She's got a lot of trauma. I think that's what makes it make so much sense that she's like a weird person because like in the first one, she was like I had a hard time in the first one figuring out who's crazier, Riddick or Kyra slash
And
Jack.
I loved her in that first
Yeah.
one. That's why the second one I was like, now what's
Yeah, and then
wrong?
in that one, I mean, but then I like the storyline of like since then, since she was a small child who was in a blowing up planet, almost lost her life and had to
Yeah.
see all these terrible monsters taking out all these things, which I feel like you'd need therapy afterwards. But then you learn her story that and she tried to go after Riddick, but then she got caught up and became a slave, and then became a bounty hunter, and then like girls got some issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you watch her, you're like,
I feel like
the
he was
issue.
pushing her too. Like I feel like he was always pushing her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the best example of that is when he yells, Ira, get your ass moving.
Right.
Yeah.
So inspirational.
So like you have to do this.
Well said, Richard. Thank you.
You ain't gonna call that man Riddick for nothing, are you? You ain't gonna say Riddick for
Yeah, no,
nothing.
that's a Richard moment.
Yeah.
So if we were to, okay, so have you seen the next movie, CJ?
Not yet.
I haven't either. Britt, you haven't seen it either yet. So,
No, I don't think I have. No.
so if we were to guess, or like, what would we want to see what would we want to see in the plot after this? It'll be interesting to see how correct or incorrect we are next week.
I mean, now that the planet
He's like the king of everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's
that's what I'm
Lord
saying. He's the king
Marshall.
of the planet. I would like to see what Marshall's going to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. Is he still alive? Yeah, he's still alive.
He's alive.
Oh, I hope him and his wife come back.
So I would like for them to follow Marshall.
Oh, that'd be really interesting. Kind of flip it now that Riddick's on top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Follow their rebellion.
Mhm.
to that.
Maybe the next movie is all about some nefarious thing he's gonna do.
That's where I'm at with it.
Here's what I want to see. Because I don't like that he's the king of everything. I don't like that he's like the destiny to. I want to see him go back to an anti-hero in the next movie. So I want to see him to be so consumed with the loss of his friend that like since he's working with these people that he's got a whole army of undead people or whatever. Like he starts trying. So in his madness of trying to like restore her life, he goes down like a really bad plot and does bad things, and someone else has to stop him. And then maybe at the end of the movie, he's like, "Oh, what was wrong? I shouldn't do that." But like, I don't think this is the case. But I think it'd make for a cool plot if he went back to being a not nice guy in the next movie.
Is that okay?
I don't think that has anything to do with the actual plot.
No,
I-
but I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
If I was the Lord of writing plots, that's what I would.
Okay.
That would follow really well with him getting all the power and everything, and then him being already a mentally unstable
Yeah.
person.
This,
It would
this,
track.
this would.
I would agree.
I
Yeah.
feel like the people that live in the necromonger area probably are not happy about the fact that he's the king. Like that's like, wait,
He's
he-
king.
why does
Yeah.
everyone hate Riddick so much? I mean, I get that he's a serial killer and stuff, but everyone yells his name so angry in that movie.
They don't like him.
He's
Mm.
yeah.
They don't.
They can't hear him.
Britt, did you have any predictions for what's happening in the next movie or hopes and aspirations?
Based off of just his general vibe and aesthetic, my guess is that he's either going to immediately just renounce the throne and just go back to being
bye.
yeah, he's like, I actually have no interest in doing like work like this, like running it or like running an operation, or he does what you guys are saying and just takes over and just uses them to his own bidding.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, we'll see. You guys will have to tune in next week. Some of you already know because you've seen the movie, but we haven't, so we're excited for that. Too Fast, Too Furious movie ranking. This is how it works. We were ranking the movie. Too Fast, you absolutely loved it. Fast, you liked it. Furious, you either didn't like it or you didn't really care. And Too Furious, you really didn't like it, and your life is less than because of it. So who'd like to give a start?
Fast.
Fast?
Fast.
Okay.
Easy breezy.
I love how you guys have like the political survey where they have like the extremes and they have like the two like basically neutral options
Yep.
and the extreme bad.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like it's kind of a cop out to pick one of the neutral ones. But I am gonna do that though. I'm gonna say Furious.
Furious. Okay, so was it like you didn't like it or you didn't care?
I didn't like it. There were a couple of scenes that made me crazy. Number one being his goggles in one of the fight scenes was slightly off to the right. And as a former swimmer, I know where he got his goggles at too. I was going nuts when I was watching that. And there was a couple of other lines that drove me nuts as well, such as all back in the bus and shit. I was like, what is that supposed to mean? I was like, that's touchy subject. Toombs locked him up and then was like, look at you all back in the bus and shit. And I was like, what
Yeah.
do you mean by that? Tell me what you mean by
Where
that.
you going with
Yeah, you're right. I hope was that the guy who was like the guy after him, and then they locked him up, and he's like Riddick. Was that?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to see him in the third one too, but
Yeah.
I want to see him like in a gruesome death. He was a very good at being an unlikable character.
He
Yeah.
was.
And his character wasn't like he didn't seem like he was part of the larger villain arc. He was just like a pesky guy who
Yeah.
also hated Riddick and was chasing him.
Yeah, he was, and he seemed very not good at what he was doing.
Yes. One last note that I had, I have to say, and it's related to sound effects. You could tell that they wanted to have the Star Wars type laser sound with their guns,
Right.
but it was like a different sounding ping to it. Like they couldn't get the IP for the laser sound,
Yeah,
and so they would shoot it, and it sounded like a clip art version of the laser.
we did.
It did. It did.
But-
It did.
But then whenever their lasers would hit something, it did like the CSI thing of the bullet, like the bullet sound hitting like steel.
It
A
did.
laser and then a bullet.
Yes.
It did.
I was like, y'all got to pick one.
They're laser bullets, man. It's the 2583 technology they have. I'll give it a fast. I liked it. Thought it was a little long drug at first of the game, but then I got into it and I thought about it later. So it's a good show. So we're gonna do best bits. I'm gonna run them through.
Need to hear yes. Let's go.
So score currently is 1 Drew 0 CJ.
Boo.
Britt, it's basically true, truth, and lie. You have to figure out the thing that I think was the best. And if you get it correct, CJ gets a point, and if you get it incorrect, I get a point, and you both are playing against me, kind of thing. So okay,
Okay.
so I picked my favorite, I guess, badass moments of Kyra. So the first one was in the pretty close to the beginning of the movie when she's in the cage and she's like a ravage animal, and the guy puts the spirit, and then she uses it to like stab him in the groin. Like, right? Do you guys?
Okay, I remember that one.
Second one is prison check where the guy's like frisking her, and then he puts his hand down, and then she like turns it into like a kung fu and murders him in a really gruesome, cool, action-packed way. And then the last one is as they're escaping, and her and Riddick are like, "Let's play that game. Who can do more, too many kills or whatever." And then a lot of action and killing ensues. So those are my three scenes. Which one do you think I think was like the most badass?
You said the second one was what?
When she was in the prison and the guy came in to frisk her down for something, and you could see his arms going kind of towards her groin, and then that's when she uses a turn to like do like a flip and kick and a
I think it's the second one.
okay.
Yeah, there were two sexual ones that he picked. And trying to figure out which one of those he's the most interested. I don't know. I think getting stabbed in the dick is something that you would find endlessly hilarious.
Oh.
So I will absolutely pick that one.
Okay. Well, I CJ, you got it correct.
What?
You did? Oh yeah. So
One me.
yeah, there we go.
Oh, now what? We won one?
Two me, one you from the
Yeah.
last one. I'll have to go back and listen to it, but
Okay, yeah.
because there was one where we both.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So
So, yeah,
technically,
so-
yeah, it is 2 you, 1 me. Okay, that's
yeah.
cool.
Okay, cool. But
I'll take that.
We still have a billion episodes left.
I'll
so,
take that. I'll catch up.
Yeah,
I'll catch
we'll
up.
see. You caught up last time.
I did catch up last
so,
time.
Well, Britt, thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you guys.
You are awesome, and we're
Thank
excited to
you.
continue to see how you're doing in comedy. We'll have you back here when we're doing another movie if you want.
Where can we find
I
you?
don't really have like a comedy Instagram or anything. If you want to see me do my thing, you got to see this shit live.
Ooh.
Posting
Yeah.
clips.
Ooh.
I'm working
Grassroots movement.
I'm working on that. We'll be posting clips soon, working with Rachel on that. But it's going to be somewhere at Britt Barnette. So in the near future, write it down and then
Just type in Britt Barnette and
in
find 'em.
in 2 weeks you'll find like 2 reels on Instagram.
Love it.
You're going to love
Yeah.
it.
And everyone, you know what? Go do something awesome. Go escape a prison planet. Go overthrow a government. Go, just live your life a quarter mile at a time. Have a wonderful night and week, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely.